Welcome. We are back at GameHole Con 8 in 2021 at the Alliant Energy Center in Madison, Wisconsin. We're here, set up some new interviews, checking out some great new stuff, and I'm here with...
This is Ryan with Guys Game Beer, and I'm not enough caffeine, or zero caffeine this morning.
Sunday will do that to you.
Day 4 can be a little bit tiring, but we're here still to chat with people, and we're here with...
My name's Rob Gustafson. I'm a freelance writer, currently working with Gooey Cube, and a YouTuber, long-time gamer. That's basically me in a nutshell.
Now, Gooey Cube, that's a name that sticks to your brain. What is Gooey Cube here?
Gooey Cube is the mad dream of a man who'd been gaming for 40 years and spun many great stories, mostly around Dungeons and Dragons. His name, his pen name, is Alphinius Goo. And if you go to Gooey Cube, his is the face that's going to be on just about everything because he is such a magnet by his charisma and his enthusiasm that they've got videos up of him. If you watch it, you will be sucked in. I'm warning you right now. And so anyhow, he got all of the people that he was working with to try his game, and they got super excited. They're like, we need to publish this. This has to be a thing that comes out. And they totaled everything up, figured out how much it would cost, pitched in, and they published an adventure. And when I say an adventure, I'm not just talking about, okay, we've got a booklet and you staple the binding and no. That's not how Gooey Cube does things, because baked into the philosophy is we want to make the player's experience and the game master's experience of the game as good as possible, as easy as possible for everybody. So the way to do that, right, is to immerse people into the game, to draw them in to the point where the rules don't seem to be a barrier anymore. And the disconnect between what one person is thinking and the other people are imagining goes away. So the adventure that they came up with is a part one of a long campaign called the Red Star Rising campaign. And the very first part's called The Darkest Dream. It starts innocuously enough, but when you start, it's a different experience for everybody, because if you're used to, say, Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition adventure paths, when you're the game master and you start that, you open the book and you start reading, and you read the story and everything like that. Gooey Cube doesn't do that the same way. When you open up the book, well, you had to get through a lot of things because it's a box set, which you may know of box sets, but this is heavier than almost any other box set because it's completely packed. And what it's packed with is all the things that they've calculated to make it easy and immersive for everybody involved. First of all, the Game Master is going to open it up, and there's a nice introductory letter from Alphinius saying, this is what makes our game special.
I will say real quick, just like looking at every part and that you kind of brought in, like not only is it an interesting and engaging world that I've seen, you guys as the organizers of this world and the creators of this world are like stewards. They're really great stewards to kind of like bring me in as, because it can be a little intimidating to take in this whole new setting and lots of new terms or locations and events in a fantasy world that's being created. I was just like scrolling through and I was getting really sucked in to see you guys were doing a really great job to bring somebody in so it's a lot less intimidating. I think that was fantastic.
I don't think of it so much as stewards because that implies that we're like guardians of something and we guide. It's more like we're hosts. We want people to be drawn in. We want them to make the world theirs. So yes, we put all these assets in front of you and everything, but both at the top end, we want people to come into the Gooey Cube Game Master's Den of Enlightenment on Facebook, and we want them to see what we've got. We want them to play around. You'll be accepted as soon as you try to apply, because Alphinius doesn't sleep, I swear. And he shows people the art that's available. We have conversations about what would you like to know about? What should we develop? These are some things we have in mind. And it's very inclusive for everybody who comes into it day one. And then the other end is that when you start reading our materials, you find out that they aren't set up the way that most other adventure materials are set up. You have, first of all, the adventure booklet itself is split into two pieces. The first part is the storybook, and it details the story almost laid out like a novel, step by step by step by step, for the game master to read through, enjoy the story as they're going through it, and it isn't cluttered up with all the stat blocks and everything. That has its own separate book, so the game master is not paging through constantly because he has to get through all these stat blocks that are in the way. No. They're spiral bound, so you can lay them flat on the table in front of you, and you can refer to this as they're going through the story, enjoy the role-playing without having clutter.
That's not...
Yeah?
Yeah, there's plenty of times I've had, again, you lose, like, a page shifts over due to the weight or anything, you're like, oh, mate, I'll give you a few seconds. It breaks away from the immersion, so
Absolutely.
any details you can put in to kind of keep that going, whether that be the flow of the design, just to make it easier to reference, again, putting your charts and everything in one place, it sounds all really well thought out.
Yeah. And then when you get into that stat book, you're going to notice that it's, again, there's some differences. You'll recognize a lot of stuff. It's got the armor classes, it's got the hit points, and so on and so forth. But if you've ever been game mastering and you know that one size does not fit all, you're experiencing that your players are really hurting. They got beat up in an encounter because the dice went against them. Our encounters are structured so that you can tailor them on the fly. They have how to make this encounter weaker for a weaker party. Or if they're understaffed for a night, you don't have to go and try to find a replacement monster or yank the fangs out of them. We make it all easy. It's right there in front of you.
That's wonderful.
You have a group that train with the Marines and they know tactics and they fireballs away and they dissect. We have steps to make it tougher so that they can have an encounter that meets the group's needs. And again, something that not a lot of others do. But that's just the cherries on top of the cake. The cake itself, and you'll find this as soon as you open it up. First of all, we give you opportunities to involve your characters because we have in the basic Darkest Dream book, there's 24 pre-generated characters. And the characters are a bit beefy, and that's also going to go into the design idea of GooeyCube and how we run 5th edition. But they're also really involved. They got detailed backstories that are interwoven into the campaign itself and personal secrets that the other players aren't going to know about so that you have your own goals and things you're going for. None of it's like, oh, stab X or make sure so-and-so is embarrassed. No, it's not like that, but they're all personal things to that character so that you're going to enjoy that character and make them live and breathe because nobody wears all of your intentions on your sleeve for anything. So you've got that. Characters are also a bit beefier, and there's a reason for that because in GooeyCube we believe that you should be enjoying the character throughout their life. I know 5th edition is kind of baked in that they want you to rush up levels as quickly as possible. You've seen the experience scale. 300 experience, bang,
yeah.
Second level, here's some new powers, enjoy it. You've got twice as many hit points now, enjoy it. Yeah, well, by the time you get done with the first box, you might not be past first level. But your characters are beefier, you've had a lot of opportunities to get new and cool things, and we have other rewards baked into the system so that you're always feeling like you're achieving and you don't get tired of that character. And by the time you've gotten through several sessions of our game, we hope that the characters are going to feel like your favorite t-shirt. You put it on, you're comfortable with the character, you know who they are, you know what they do, and you're ready to play and excited about the opportunities that are in front of you.
So for some people who haven't kind of had a taste of this world, can you give just a little synopsis of kind of what people are to be expecting in your world?
Absolutely. So the world itself is a fantasy world called Zyathé. It's a very rich, magical world, and that is the other half of what GooeyCube is working on, despite this, they've got this great campaign. But they also have this amazing world, Zyathé, which they've already produced 2 books for it. The Encyclopedia Zyathika, The Weirded World, which is kind of the overview of the entirety of the world, the history of the creation of the world, the 72 gods that are involved in the world. There's a lot. And little details on how this game is different from average 5th edition world. They have special features like characters that can have blood touches, that are arcane changes that structure them. If you know what tieflings are, it's a little bit like that, but this is spontaneous. It doesn't necessarily have to come from a bloodline that you know about. Kids just sometimes spontaneously are born with these powers. And they can give them magical powers, which are cool, but they're also marked and frequently hunted and despised because of these powers. So that generates a vector of you have powers, but they lead you in a direction where you're going to be hunted. Your life is going to be more difficult as a result. It's got motion and it's got purpose. The magic of the world is going to be a little bit different. Oh yeah, you're going to have wizards and sorcerers, but we also have upcoming in the new Encyclopedia Magica, Fusiliers who use magical stones called flow stones, put them in guns and shoot magic at people.
Nice.
There's all kinds of little wrinkles like that you learn to fall in love with GooeyCube very quickly, if you care at all about the fantasy that you're running your players through. So, yep.
Yep. So one of the things that you mentioned, there's Facebook, YouTube. This was launched through Kickstarter. Is that
Yes,
correct?
indeed. In 2019, GooeyCube was on the verge of going to all the cons, pressing a lot of flesh, meeting a lot of people. They wanted to take it a step further, and they needed the capital to do that. So they launched a Kickstarter. It was a very ambitious Kickstarter because it was going to fund the third, fourth, fifth, and beyond parts of the Red Star Rising campaign. And another part, again, of the GooeyCube philosophy is that the boxes are full of art. There's so much art involved, and it's all high-quality art that they pay for. It has a cost. So you have all these handouts to give to your players. Again, everybody's imagining the same thing. Everybody's immersed in it. You've seen the art. You know that it's absolutely incredible. And they have portraits for all of the major NPCs, too, so that you can show your players who's talking to them. Again, sometimes 60 pieces of art right there. And so this all came out in the Kickstarter. It was very successful. And they're currently working on fulfilling the Kickstarter, which is where I come in. I, as a freelance writer, was just kind of sitting on the periphery. I talked to Alphinius Goo. He sucked me in. And next thing I know, I find out I'm writing an adventure for them to fulfill part of that Kickstarter. And they are working very hard at fulfilling it. We're hoping by the end of the year, we're going to have more steps involved going out into 2022. Before we start doing another Kickstarter, we're going to fulfill all these extra parts. And anybody who's interested and missed the Kickstarter can come along for the ride because that's all being made available as it's coming out.
That's wonderful. I will say, like, again, looking at your site, kind of getting introduced to the world, and kind of looking at some of the supplementary materials like your glossary and some of the videos provided to kind of bring people in. I seriously, I was like stuck in a rabbit hole. I was like, oh, this is really exciting. Like, you can tell that it's crafted with love. There's a lot of detail. It looks like there's a ton of great supplementary material. And it's definitely something I'm looking to check out more. So if somebody's looking to kind of get hooked or kind of look into your world, where can they check you out?
Well, GooeyCube.com is the portal that you can go through. Again, we're also on Discord, and we've got that Facebook group, the Gooey Game Masters Den of Enlightenment. And there you can meet people who work with GooeyCube directly. You can meet all of the halo of people that have been, who found it and believe in it. And
so you were talking too, like that's how you kind of got involved into the Facebook group. Like, what was that like for you?
Well, again, I've been gaming for many, many years, and when I first saw the Kickstarter, I was a little skeptical. I'm like, why are they charging so much for an adventure? That seems a little odd. And then Alphinius reached out directly to me, like the day I posted it, and said, you need to check out our stuff, my friend. So I checked out their stuff, and I saw the video, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. It was off of their Kickstarter page. You can still see it. It's still up. And the video just sucked me in. I started to believe that this isn't just something that's there. It's something I need, because I never run an adventure. I mean, even the most highly polished 5th edition adventure paths don't have the handouts like that. They have something bound inside that you can look at. And the Candlekeep Mysteries has some handouts and stuff, and that's nice. That's nothing compared to what we have at GooeyCube.
I honestly, I was looking online. You just get that gut feeling. Like, I definitely saw it in your guys' work, no doubt.
And we've been gaming for a long time. Alphinius, me, a lot of the people who are in it, and we know what game masters have been asking for and never getting in this degree. We know a lot of the shortcuts that can make somebody's new journey into role-playing that much easier if it's just there and available. So we hope that a lot of people do take advantage of the GooeyCube and look at the stuff, see what's out there, want to be a part of it, get excited into it, try the Darkest Stream, or check out the website at the very least. There's a few free downloads that you can check out, like the adventure that I'm running at the con here, Dark Tides Night, which is excellent, a lot of fun, a little creepy. Just so you know, Zyathé has a little bit of a horror tinge to it. So if you're just looking for happy fantasy, it's a little darker than that. But you can play happy fantasy in it. And if you fall in love with the adventure, the Red Star Rising campaign, again, the box sets are like $50 or $60, which seems a bit steep. But again, the art and the craftsmanship that go into it, I can vouch for. They're excellent. And if you're interested in the world of Zyathé, you're looking for a brand new fantasy world with all kinds of flavor, not only are they putting out the encyclopedias, which are thick with lore and art, and they're gorgeous, They also have these massive map packs. And the next step that's also a part of the Kickstarter are we are ambitiously going to try to make the largest fantasy city in role-playing games. Okay. The city of Darkenhaven, which I'm currently working on helping too, so I'm very proud of this. Because underneath that city is an entire other city called the Gloomport, which is, it's like this hollowed out bluff, and underneath it is its own separate city with its own flavor and own people. And the people who bought into GooeyCube and become part of it and the contributors, we have NPCs that live in the city. I know where my house is. I know where my character is a professor emeritus of thaumaturgy in the university. I know where my office is. And that is incredibly cool. My character's name is Zix Gramus, and he constantly bedevils Elphinius because when they asked me who I wanted to be, I'm like, I want to be a villain. You guys are all heroes. Everybody remembers the bad guy. So I am the naughty mancer of the group. I can work with other people, but yeah. You get to be a part of that. A sentimental thing that I think really sets it off, the mountain ranges that they have. If you want to be a part of the community, they let you name a mountain. And you can call it Mount Mighty Rock or something like that, sure. But what we encourage you to do is you can name it and give it a sentimental value. And I don't think Elphinius will be too mad at me if I say this. The one he has is called Mount Silver Star because his father earned the Silver Star in combat. And to commemorate his father, he named that after him, which is amazing.
That's wonderful.
And we hear stories like that all the time. People who have that personal bit of themselves that have been baked into GooeyCube. Again, I've never seen anything like it in my life, and I'm incredibly proud to be a part of it.
That's most wonderful. So one more time, again, like we've been checking you out online. Where can they find you if they want to look into more about what GooeyCube's about?
Okay. Again, the Facebook group, the Gooey Game Masters Den of Enlightenment. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but it's a wonderful, wonderful group. GooeyCube.com is, of course, where you can buy the things. You can look at the videos. They have lots of links. It's very, very well apportioned. We have an amazing audio-video person named Camera Mandy, who I've just fallen in love with because she's so good at everything she does. And again, if you look at it, you see the quality we put out, you see the videos, you listen to Elphinius' voice, you'll want this. You will get sucked into this. And hopefully, we see you there. We want everybody to come and be a part of it as long as, you can be civil and good company. But yeah, we want a lot of voices involved. We want your contributions. We want to make Zyathé a world that everybody who's interested has a part in it, can enjoy, can fall in love with the way that we have. And it's good to be in the goo.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us on the show. We really appreciate it.
It's wonderful to be here. I love talking about GooeyCube, obviously. I couldn't even be fake about this if I wanted to. It's really been such a pleasure and probably the best thing in my gaming experience for well over 35 years. So that's great.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. This is Guys Games and Beer here at GameHole Con 2021. Check out some more videos and interviews. Thank you.
Thank you.